I'm going to give you the pared down version of the presentation that I gave when I was at Ignite last week. It was really about driving engagement using Viva and this idea of employee experience. I don't know you two guys that well. Maybe you could tell me who you are and that type of thing.
Product control, San Ysidro Health, San Ysidro Board Director of Infrastructure and Information Security.
Great.
Yeah, I work at the house for San Ysidro Health. Yeah.
Great. Any plans for Viva?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's see what
Okay.
it is.
Couldn't turn your camera off. Yep. No, I keep on seeing a lot of different angles of myself, and it's a little bit disturbing. Okay. Good to go. Everyone could hear me in the audience. 12. All right. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. Just some brief background on me. First, now it's not working. Any guys pickleball players? I play a lot of pickleball, obviously, actually down in the San Diego area, tons of courts all over the place. I've been in the SharePoint world, especially the Southern California user group for the past 5 years, but I've been in the ecosystem for just about 20 years. My personal expertise is around employee engagement, adoption, figuring out ways, how do we get employees to get more engaged at work, really involved. And I'm going to talk about that today using Viva. And then I'm going to show you some case studies, and then I'm going to leave you with some best practices. So excuse us while this loads. Right, how come it's not like loading? It's not really loading. Take you something here. Here we go.
You had an animation in there.
Okay. Yeah, but usually I click through it and it just wasn't opening. Right, we all know what Viva is, but what we're really going to talk about today is that idea of driving employee experience and really creating a great work atmosphere. At the end of the day, our employees are basically the livelihood, the blood of the organization, and it's no different with Viva. And at the end of the day, I don't care what the platform is. I don't care what's in a hot dog, just make it taste really good. Sorry, I'm just getting used to this kind of presentation. Why are we doing this to begin with? At the end of the day, we want employee performance, productivity to increase, and we want to keep our employees. I'm not saying your intranet or your employee hub is going to keep employees, but what I am saying is that it could certainly increase the chances. We have great experience when we're on the outside. For those of you that are still potentially on Facebook or Instagram, those are nice experiences. And then when we come to our company, many times our employee hub, we can't find things, we can't find the experts in the organization. So what's really a best practice around that? So Viva Connections is literally evolving on a daily basis. And there are 3 major components to it. And I'm going to talk about that today. The feed, the dashboard, those are the web parts, and then the mobile experience. What is that going to be like? And then the resource center, finding the experts, finding documents that you're looking for in a timely fashion. So the dashboard, as you might imagine, it's really where the rubber hits the road. It's everything that I need to know as an employee of your organization. Finding access to information, documents, finding experts, access to a calendar. I've got a client that all they care about is having a robust calendar. So having the tools that I need to do my job anytime, any place, on any device. The feed is simply, again, as it sounds, it's the news feed. Corporate communications hopefully is involved with your employee experience hub and having that feed with the news that highlighting employees, having that content strategy around why are we doing this to begin with, and then targeted information. So if I'm in San Diego and we're having a picnic, I don't necessarily need to know that we're having a picnic in Washington, D.C., right? So targeted information based upon where I sit. Or if I'm in Chicago and there's a snowstorm and we're closing the office earlier, I don't necessarily need to know that if I'm sitting here in San Diego. So targeted content. Then having that resource center, that being able to find the information that you need in a timely fashion. And these are a couple of samples. So the one on the left, believe it or not, is the older version of Viva. When I say older, last year. And then the new dashboard view, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. And if you look at this, everything that I need, you've got learning that's due, you've got tasks that are due. Now with Viva, you could reflect and chill out for a minute at your desk or wherever you're chilling out. Book focus time, effective meetings, all the different things that Viva right out of the box helps. I've got a number of claims to fame. One of my favorite ones in the SharePoint world is think of me to configure rather than customize. Too many times we get into trouble when we customize. Remember back, 10, 15 years ago when NewsGator was around and we would customize the heck out of your SharePoint site. And I'm all about humanizing the experience, but also let's make it so that it's easy to upgrade. Let's make it easy. So if there are different nuances within Viva, it all will automatically fold into us. Obviously, the way we worked has changed. Stephen talked about it a little while ago. Different generations are working. Much teams and collaboration are taking place. Many of us are remote. How about you guys? Are you remote and in the office or a little bit of both? Hybrid. Christoph, you guys? Okay. Yeah, I've always been remote, although it's nice to go into the office. We have a fabulous Irvine office. About 200 of us are there. And they're constantly, I don't want to call it bribing us, but there are always a lot of really fun events there that to try to get us in the office, everything from kickball tournaments to happy hours. And of course, I'm always up for any of those. When I think about the employee experience, I put employees into 3 buckets, and you guys could probably relate in your organizations. You've got those early adopters, people like you that spend your mid-morning, early afternoon with us. Show me something new. You're going to go no matter what. Then you've got that third that are never, ever going to go. And it breaks my heart. They're going to walk over to the other side of the office. They're going to fax things. They're going to FedEx it. They're never, ever going to go. Breaks my heart. But the opportunity, though, are for that third, that what I call the fence sitters. What's in it for them that's going to make them want to use this employee experience hub? I'm using that term instead of intranet. When I was at Ignite, we played a little drinking game. Every time I said the word internet, everyone had to take a drink. So we could do that here too. Of course, it's just water today. I did 2.5 sessions, and my last one was literally right at happy hour or right before happy hour, and they had beers and wine. So it really was a legit drinking game. So how do we move people from on the fence to sort of involved or engaged? We all know that unengaged employees cost our companies a lot of money, but the economy just even more money. So this idea of high employee engagement is associated with an organization's business success. Very much believe that. And in fact, I put together this definition of what employee engagement is. And I actually will challenge it to, instead of the word engagement, involvement. To me, involvement is much more. I was at an intranet conference yesterday, and they talked about, yeah, we've got 99% of our employees engaged. I was like, wow, how do you measure that? Well, every time they open up their computer, it opens up to our intranet. And guess what? There you go. They're engaged. I'm like, I didn't feel like challenging them big time, but let's have more than just opening up your laptop and have it go onto your internet. Let's really give them a reason. And every case, it's a different use case. That's all I think about is what's going to get employees to go there and then actually interact. So when I think about what engagement is, right, it's one who's fully involved, enthusiastic about his or her work. I started with them at the beginning of the year. I've been in consulting for about 16 years. And I've got to tell you, those of you that know me know that this is by far the absolute positive best job I ever had. And you might say, well, Jeff, why is that? You always seem like you're a pretty happy guy. The other companies you were with, also great companies as well. And I can't really put my finger on it except to know that it's very entrepreneurial, which I am. And I have a team behind me that supports everything that I do. And obviously, you could tell that I'm enthusiastic, and all you have to do is go on YouTube and type in with them and culture, and you'll see right off the bat what really drew me in. It's a really fabulous culture. We're a CPA tax and advisory firm. I'm on the advisory side, and it's just a great place to work. So how do we get others to feel that same exact way? When I look at employees and I talk to organizations, I usually break it out into about 5 or 6 different areas. You've got your file shares, you have your core business applications, social computing, we'll call that Teams or Yammer or Engage now, Slack maybe, search solutions, right? Search is usually the #1 pain point. You've got your employee directory, and then let's throw in email, right? I call this swivel chair technology, right? Super disparate, very disconnected, and as far as an employee experience goes, it's not exactly the most engaging. It doesn't really draw people in. So I came up with this idea, this vision of what can be, right? That digital workplace experience that connects people, information. It really meets the employee where they are, right? Gaining instant access to the tools, everything they need to do their job anytime, any place, on any device. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So you have sort of, where does Viva fit? Is it sort of just a aggregator of all these maybe different systems, whether they be, Microsoft services, or I think about this, I think about, okay, great, we have an ERP. Is there an integration with their ERP? So the employee can go here and maybe find out individual information that's specific to them. Without having to go log into the ERP or something like that. Does Viva solve that problem?
Think of Viva, if I really had to really get all the way down to the bottom. I honestly look at it as sort of like the SharePoint 2022, right? It's the updated version of SharePoint with a lot more tools. So as long as they're in your Active Directory, I can't see why that it wouldn't be easy to access, like your files, finding experts. Is that what your question was?
Well, no, but it's more of obviously it's like a public domain area where people can say it's not like if I log in, I'm going to see something specific that's private.
Yeah, so you've got the same permissions as, with SharePoint in the past. So, if you've got your C-level executives, they'll be able to see, frontline workers,
right? The
whole thing. It really depends. And I'm going to show you a great sample. I don't know if you have any frontline workers. Did you say you're in healthcare?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So how do you separate them, and how do you get information to them, and how do you get them engaged? I'm going to show you a sample of that in a minute. Again, Viva Engage, I put this on there because I'm a former ambassador and I'm a big social computing person. But again, over the years, I'm still social, but I see, talking to end users and clients, that the #1 pain point is not that they want to socialize or collaborate with other employees, but it's really more that they need to find the information to help do their jobs more. So whereas Engage is that social connection between leaders and employees. I remember when Yammer first came out, we would do that sort of reverse mentoring. We would have like the young folks at the company talk to the C-level executives, get to know them, and really show them the value of Yammer. In this case, it's going to be engage. Right at the end of the day, why are we doing this? Amplify employee satisfaction and sort of the 5 best practices, the 5 areas where we're really going to concentrate, right? Personalized. I already talked about this earlier, based upon where you are in the organization and what your role is. Anticipate sort of what you need. There's nothing better than if I'm sending out an email and I'm adding an attachment to it, because I do love attachments. I have to admit, deep dark secret, telling you guys, I love attachments. But if I'm sending out an attachment, it's going to go automatically to my last saved few documents. I like that. Or if I'm linked into Ryan, maybe I should also be connected to Sal. So that sort of anticipate your need. Having a great search experience, surfacing key business metrics, right? So having, whether it's a Powered BI dashboard or just a dashboard brought in from Salesforce, or you tell me where you want it brought in. I look at Viva as sort of the platform, just like SharePoint was. Underneath this carpet, there's probably some type of concrete slab, or maybe there's something in between it. I look at Viva as sort of like that concrete slab, and what are we going to do on top of it? And really be that communications hub across the organization. Available anytime, any place. But the pushback that I get on a lot of these projects are everything, different priorities. Budget might be wasted on maybe a third-party add-on, or can't find the exact person that I'm looking for, or basically we've got SharePoint, we're just not using it to its full potential. I get that a lot. So what does this sort of 2022 version of the internet look like? I'm going to show you right now. So when I think about personalization, again, I told you, it knows who you are, what your role is in the organization, and what you do. So this first case study, I'm an associate at a large consulting firm, and a best practice, and you probably see it maybe in your intranets, or maybe you've seen it in other ones, incorporating rich media or videos or pictures into it. People love seeing those, especially if it's an old town hall or a recent town hall, or a message from the CEO or CTO or CXO. You decide, but having that content strategy around what are we doing? If you went to Facebook all the time and all you saw was my Facebook update, and I didn't update it for a year, which I usually don't update it that much, you would stop going there. Exact same thing with your intranet. Let's have that content strategy. I'm not saying that it necessarily comes from IT, but it's nice to have the IT support behind it. The best scenario is when the IT person gets the business scenario and the business person gets the IT scenario. Oh, wow. Another meeting. Oh, it's already 12 o'clock. All right. I'll be done in like 10 minutes. And then the things that are important to me as an associate, my work, my burn rate, we bring all of this in from Outlook. So key dates that might be appropriate to tasks that are involved, conversations that are happening on Teams or Yammer, and then documents that might be associated with all of those. All served up to me in a really easy to use dashboard. Things that are important to me, we bring in articles from, you tell me, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Forbes, appropriate tax information, conversations that might be having that are being held on Twitter, Facebook, that are all appropriate to me. Then if I'm a partner, very similar look and feel, except completely different content. So I'm not going to see all the content that an associate might see. I'm going to see sort of everything but that. So again, you see that your town hall questions there. And as a partner, the things that are important to me, I want to see all my proposals in flight. I want to see the revenue goals. I want to see where I am year to date. These are important things to me on a regular basis as a partner. We also have a coaching area, very similar to the associate, and being able to stay in touch with your associates. And then make it personal, right? So this is another sample, completely different look and feel, but very similar the way that employees really, where the rubber hits the road, where they want all their apps at their fingertips. So we serve it up front and center. We also bring in my work, they call it my hub. Basically, I'm bringing your calendar right into your intranet. Featured news, you'll see a similar theme with every sample I'm showing you. There's always going to be pictures. I love spotlighting employees. I'm a big calendar guy, so just having a great calendar and having it, again, served up to you so I don't have to continually toggle back and forth to Outlook. Having that social feature, we're bringing conversations from Yammer, from Facebook, from Twitter, all that are appropriate for you. And then I'm a big sucker for polls. That's usually where I get the most involvement when we're rolling out a new intranet. Let's figure out an appropriate question and let's get people to just click that button. In this case, hey, what's your Thanksgiving dinner going to be? Is it going to be turkey? Are you going out? Whatever it's going to be. Let's make it a little bit interesting. Search, I mentioned earlier, the #1 pain point. I'm going to show you this brief search experience. So another consulting firm, you type in aerospace experience, and these are your initial search results. So you've got clients that are appropriate, people that might be appropriate to, again, this aerospace experience search query, industry-specific documents that are all served up to you. And then let's take it one step further. Let's do a deeper dive right into the clients that are being served. And then I mentioned earlier, let's humanize the experience. So having a great Active Directory so we could actually find the people that are appropriate for that specific project right there. Colleagues that are connected, key contacts at the actual company, industry feed, the things that are important to me that's really going to make my life easier as an employee. Again, I mentioned search. The future of search is really powerful, flexible, and using AI on a regular basis. And you don't even think about it. Enterprise social, I mentioned earlier, bring in feeds. I don't care if it's a Yammer feed or in this case, Aon, they use Chatter with Salesforce. So bring it right into your Viva intranet. The social feed that I mentioned earlier from Northwestern. And I don't care whether it's a desktop, laptop, tablet, mobile device. Let's make it a great user experience. I would say the #1 thing that I've seen creating intranets over the past 15 or 16 years is companies that skimp on the user experience. I'll give a statement of work and there'll be a line item for design, but then there'll also be a line item for UX. And many times people don't want to spend the money, but we all know whether it's coming up to the 4th floor here, finding, you're in a parking lot, you're booking your airline ticket. Let's make it a great user experience. You're investing in this new platform for your organization to drive engagement. Let's make it easy for them to use. You'll see a theme that I'm talking about. Make it easy, make it easy. Find the right users. How do we engage them? Another great example, frontline workers. You would think that at a place like the Golden Arches firm, how are they going to be able to check in? Well, using the location, they're able to use, they're using Workday. When the employees come in the morning, they're able to check in right on their mobile devices. And guess what? They're loving it. Loblaw is a very large organization, very similar. They're basically the Canadian version of Walmart. Tons of frontline workers, all the folks that are in the stores. So if I'm in the produce section and there's a recall on romaine lettuce, I want to make sure that that these frontline workers get that notification right away on their mobile devices and they remove all the lettuce as soon as possible. Navigation is one of those things. I'm obsessed with a really great navigation, but that goes back to user experience again. Make it easy for me to find things. You'll see that theme, make it easy for me to find things. You see that left side nav, news, about, my communities, people I might be connected to. Exact same thing here. Upper left-hand corner, news, photos, people, places, resources. Make it easy for me to find my information. Another great sample of a pharma company up in the north side of Chicago. Just some more samples. I'm going to be able to leave this deck with you as well. And I have a bunch of block slides. Oh, there we go. So how do we get there? How do we get there? By clicking buttons? No. This is what I call my money slide. Everyone's got to have a money slide. This is my money slide. Why are we doing this to begin with? We have to answer, why are we doing this, right? Let's find out. Let's figure out what the ROI is. In fact, I'll send you, just again, we'll exchange information. Forrester's got a Viva ROI white paper. It's fabulous. Let's figure out what that is, and then let's find out what some milestones are, and then start. Then figure out who are the users, how do we use them, and what do we want to do with them? And at the end of the day, answer the question, what's in it for me? Some of you know I run marathons, I play a lot of pickleball, and the only reason why I do that, it's not like I love running. I mean, does anyone really love running? I don't. Is because I like to eat so much. You'll see as soon as they bring the pizza here, because I didn't really eat that much this morning. I will devour it, and later on, I'm going to be playing pickleball. So there's got to be value, right? So bring value, bring value, bring value, or else employees are never going to go there. So again, answer the question, what's in it for me? Find your evangelists, find your super users, your change agents in your company, and then let's get them on board. I like to call them the Paul Revere's of your company, right? The ones that are like, hey, the red coats are coming, red coats are coming. Let's figure out who those people are. And then let's talk about the technology, right? I'm the first person that loves the shiny new thing, but we don't always have to buy it. Let's get as much out of the box functionality. I was just at a third-party software intranet company past 2 days. And half these people, they're like, yeah, you know, we just couldn't figure it out with SharePoint, so we went with this company. And I was like, wow, you're paying a lot in licenses. It's a nice experience, but the engagement would be the same. So a lot of companies are thinking about getting off a third party, and let's get as much out of the box functionality with Viva as possible.
Jeff, we have a small SharePoint development team. Is this like a heavy lift in terms of the learning curve to learn how to do this, or is it just seamless? If they know SharePoint, they'll.
Well, I personally think that you need a little TLC from a company like us, but yeah, it should, if they're SharePoint developers. I mean, Ryan does that. I mean, how would you answer that question?
For a lot of parts, a lot of Viva does not require a developer. If you want to customize and do a little more functionality, then there are things where a developer can come into play, but a lot of Viva itself is customizable without any development.
Other kind of follow up to that, does Viva sit inside SharePoint or is it a separate entity of SharePoint? Can they coexist? They mutually exclusive?
It depends. So again, the consulting answer, it depends. I mean, is your SharePoint on-prem or is it in the cloud?
Cloud.
Yeah, so it should coexist. I mean, it's behind the scenes. So as long as it's in some type of document library, people should be able to pull it up. Viva is like the front end, SharePoint the back end, but Viva really is the back end too.
So we can have SharePoint up while we develop our Viva sites. Sunset.
You're not going to sunset SharePoint ever. SharePoint's always going to be behind the scenes. Daniel, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, so Viva connection sits on top. On SharePoint. Essentially, work side by side.
SharePoint's plumbing underneath, just like it is for Teams.
Right. This is the way we get there, though. Too many times I'll come into an organization and they forget to do these front two, and they just start building, testing, deploying. But let's talk to the end users first. Let's figure out what they want. I always think I know what they want, but until we actually talk to them, we don't know. Then let's think about that content strategy, user experience, front-end design, and then we start building, testing, deploying, iterating. So, like anything else, crawl, walk, run. I mean, I think about it all the time. Exact same thing when we're building something. You're not just gonna, go into your house and tear out the bathroom without having a new bathroom planned for it. Maybe the toilet will fit here, maybe it won't. Maybe the vanity will fit here. So exact same thing when you're building this out. Some additional tactics, create an incentive program. I did a project for a medical instrument company up in the Twin Cities. And I remember talking to these folks. They're all sort of kind of mini rocket scientists, the type. They never look you in the eye. They walk around the office like this, and they work in very dark spaces. But when we're in our little voice of the user session, I got them to start talking. And they told me a couple of things. One is they drink Caribou coffee. That's the big coffee up there in the Twin Cities. And two is they love this Murray Steakhouse. So we came up with an incentive program to get them to start using it. And you would think, oh, you know what, as soon as the incentive program went away, they stopped using it. But it was the complete opposite. It went through the roof with the adoption. So we gave out points for asking a question. We gave out points for answering a question, providing a link, adding a picture, that type of thing. So come up with different ideas to get people involved and engaged. Weekly trivia, tips of the week. What's in it for me workshops. We didn't really talk a lot about governance, but having a good governance plan around what you're rolling out. I'm not a big draw a line in the sand kind of guy, but sometimes you have to do that and sunset your old intranet for whatever's coming up that's new. My favorite thing to do. It used to be my favorite thing to do, but now that I live in San Clemente, I don't like to travel as much, but I do come and see companies come and see you, bring in pizza, lunch, just like we're doing today, and really talk to the entire organization about what I call the art of the possible. Lunch and learn. Then I'm going to leave you with what I call 5 must-have principles for a successful digital workspace. That's the idea anyway. And it's not right. The transition, right? Here's like, oh, there we go. Okay.
That should be good. I think it's just the focus was down the side.
Got it. Create that engaging user experience. I know I talked about it. And then see the community with the Paul Revere's, the change agents in your companies. Incorporate rich media, nothing more than pictures, videos. Deliver targeted content, enable personalization. So again, if I'm sitting in Irvine, I don't need to know what exactly is going on up in Toronto or wherever another office is. I talked about culture, getting leadership buy-in is key. And then again, answer the question, what's in it for me? And with that, pizza's here. I'm here all afternoon. I think after lunch, Joel's going to say, Joel's got a little thing on Teams, and then our friends from Grow Canyon who brought lunch for us, they're going to do something. For those of you that are online, I think we're gonna take about half-hour break, Ryan? Half-hour break, so I would reconvene, I don't know, 12:45, so 15 minutes to the top of the hour. So depending upon where you are, I know some people are not in this country that are on this call. So about 30 minutes from right now, we'll reconvene. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy lunch or dinner or breakfast.
Thank you.
One thing,